Lead magnets are crucial if you want to grow and scale your online business, because a lead magnet is anything you give your audience for free, again, in exchange for their name and email address. I'm Amy Porterfield, ex-corporate girl turned CEO of a multi-seven-figure business. But it wasn't all that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the budget, and the time to focus on growing my small but mighty business. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and you'll see the business I have today, one that changes lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible, one that used to only exist as a daydream. I created the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Well, hey there. Welcome back to Online Marketing Made Easy. I'm thrilled that you're here today because this episode is going to be a game changer for you when it comes to creating a lead magnet that will help you grow your email list with quality leads. Now, if you've been here with me for a while, you may have listened to a couple episodes about lead magnets already, and that's great if you have. You'll have a little bit of a head start because you're already familiar with some of the things I'm going to go over. But this episode is like the holy grail of lead magnet creation because I'm going to walk you through the entire process from A to Z so that you can make sure you are setting yourself up for success from the very beginning. This is a pretty hefty episode. It's jam-packed, full of information, so make sure that you have a notepad or a Google Doc open to take some notes. And I just want to say that typically when I do these episodes, when I do a solo episode that is more step-by-step, these are the most popular episodes. So I'd love to know what you felt about this episode. If you want more like this, just drop into my DMs. I'm at Amy Porterfield on Instagram. Let me know if you want more of these or how you felt about this because I'm making it for you, my friend. So if you didn't love it, I want to know. If you did love it, I want to know. So give me some feedback so I kind of know what direction, because these are a lot of work. What I'm going to share with you, this took a long time to create and I'm all about it, but I want to make sure that you're putting it into use and you feel like it's full of value. So anyway, feedback would be greatly appreciated. All right, let's dive in. Now, as I go through this episode, I want you to approach it with a beginner's mind. Because if you're listening, then you want to grow your email list. If you're listening, then you see the value of an email list. You know this is an area you probably don't pay close attention to or give it enough energy and attention. And you know that if you grow your email list, it will be easier to sell online. Social media alone is not enough. It is fickle. You do not own it. You do own your email list. And from personal experience, I would never have the business I have today if I wasn't able to utilize a thriving email list. And so if you want to take the pressure off of making social be everything to your business, meaning selling, growing an audience, connecting with an audience, and you would like your email list to do some of that heavy lifting, then this is the episode for you. But you need to go through it with a beginner's mind because you're going to know some of this stuff, but you're going to walk away with pure value that you can apply right away. And so I just want you to have an open mind and let's get into all the detail. Now, you may already be familiar with the concept of a lead magnet, but people call lead magnets different things like opt-ins or a free offer or a free giveaway or a free resource. So whatever you want to call it, we are talking about something that you create in exchange for a name and email. Lead magnets are crucial if you want to grow and scale your online business because a lead magnet is anything you give your audience for free, again, in exchange for their name and email address. Think about some of the brands you like and engage with. Chances are you've given your email address to them to gain access to some of their content. Maybe it was a quick guide or a checklist or a video. Maybe it was the results of a quiz that you took. Maybe it was a coupon code, which is really popular for physical products. These are all examples of lead magnets. Now, a successful lead magnet leads your ideal customer avatar or your ICA to engage with your brand, to consume the free value you're offering and ultimately turns them into fans and ideally paying customers down the road. So when your ICA dives into your free lead magnet, you want them to say, oh, wow, I can't believe I got this for free. If this is free, imagine what the paid stuff looks like. You want it to be that good. You want your lead magnet to be the conversation starter that piques their interest. They're not ready to buy yet, so you're going to meet them where they're at right now, and they're looking for a solution to their immediate challenge or their immediate desire. I always say your lead magnet helps your ICA cross an invisible bridge, and you're helping them get to where they want to be. All right. So now that you know the purpose of a lead magnet, let's talk about the fun stuff. How the heck do you figure out what the topic of your lead magnet should be? This is where so many of my students get stuck, but I promise this is much simpler than you think it might be. To help you determine the topic of your lead magnet, there are a few simple questions you can ask yourself. Remember, the purpose of your lead magnet is to help your ICA solve an immediate problem or pain point or a desire that they have. So here are some questions you can ask. What is the best place to start the conversation with your ideal customer avatar? So the best place to start the conversation, which usually is right where they are right now. One of the biggest mistakes I see with lead magnets is you are starting the conversation deep into your topic. And it's far beyond where your audience is actually starting. So you're 10 steps ahead, teaching them some advanced strategy or some advanced concept. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I literally just started this journey and I've got questions and concerns and challenges that I'm not even there yet. So usually you got to back up a little bit, meet them where they're at with whatever it is you're giving them in that lead magnet so that they feel like you read their mind. Like, oh, how did you know that's where I am right now? How did you know that's what I was thinking? But you tend to need to take a few steps back to really nail down the perfect topic for a lead magnet. Okay, so number one, where is the best place to start the conversation? Number two, what is the number one question you get asked all the time? Think about it. What do people ask you about? Number three, what topic do you feel like you could talk about for hours on end? Like you're excited to talk about it and you have a lot of knowledge to share. Number four, this is such a good question. What should your ideal customer avatar be asking you that they are not asking you yet? So if you do a little research and kind of figure out where they are in their journey right now, whatever the topic is, what questions should they be asking that they don't know to ask? Here's another one. What is your ideal customer avatar most afraid of? What are they afraid of admitting? What are they afraid of addressing? What are they afraid of happening? Maybe you meet them there. Number six, what could help your ideal customer right this minute? That's another thing. We're going for a quick win, an immediate boost of results, not big results, but a quick win. So what could help them right now? Number seven, what is something your ICA isn't expecting from you, yet if you offered it for free, it would knock their socks off? They're like, whoa, I didn't even know I needed this, but you know me well. Great. I wasn't expecting you to send me this. Number eight, how can you get your ICA unstuck or out of overwhelm? Such a good one. Number nine, what are your ICA's biggest pain points and or desires? What would help ease their pain or help fulfill a desire? Now, we're going for a quick win. So we're not going deep down a rabbit hole and you're solving all their problems around a specific topic. Quick win so that they say, whoa, that's so good. What else you got? And that's where down the road, you're like, well, I have a course or a membership or a coaching program or whatever it might be. Okay. And then number 10, what does your ICA need to understand, be aware of, or believe in order to want or need your program, product, or service? This is what I call the golden question. So I'm going to repeat it one more time. Are you ready? What does my ideal customer avatar need to understand, be aware of, or believe in order to eventually want or need my program, product, or service? So before they ever buy from you, what do they need to understand, be aware of, or believe? This one is a big one. And it really examines your end game. And I get it. You might not be ready to sell anything yet. Maybe you're just nurturing your audience, growing your email list right now, which is a brilliant move, by the way. You can start growing your email list before you have anything to sell. Actually, it takes a lot of pressure off you and you're just giving, and in service. So it's a beautiful thing if you have that luxury to not have to make money right now. But on the flip side, perhaps you're already thinking about what you eventually want to create or sell. And so that golden question is really helpful. Or perhaps you're already in the game. You're actively promoting a course, a membership, some kind of coaching package. So asking that golden question, what do they need to understand, be aware of, or believe before they're ever ready to buy from me, essentially is the question. Then by all means, if you can answer that question, that is your freebie. So wherever you find yourself, it's essential to think about what you're offering or planning to offer in the future when you're crafting your lead magnet. Your content should seamlessly fit with whatever you've got in the pipeline and sets the stage for your offerings ahead. So just keep that in mind as you go through those questions. And by the way, feel free to pause this episode right here so that you can take some time to answer the questions before moving on. I will put them into the show notes. So amyporterfield.com/690. I will list all 10 questions in my show notes, copy paste, put them in a Google Doc, answer those questions. It will make a difference. So amyporterfield.com/690. Next, I'm going to walk you through several different types of lead magnets so you can start thinking about the format of what you're going to create. Because I want to talk about the difference between the lead magnet itself, the topic, what you're teaching, and then the format, the type that you are going to create. And those are different. The topic and the type are different entities to think about. How about that? I actually have a podcast episode that goes really in depth on this. So you can feel free to listen to it at some extra time that you have, some extra support if you want it. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Choosing the Right Lead Magnet for Your Audience. And it's an oldie but a goodie and still totally stands. So it's episode 214. So anytime I give you a number of an episode, just put amyporterfield.com in front of it. So amyporterfield.com/214. I'll link to it in the show notes as well. But that is a really in-depth episode. Again, the ultimate guide to choosing the right lead magnet for your audience. But for now, I'm going to run you through the most common types of lead magnets that you can create so you have an overview. So again, these are types, which would be related to the format. The content you put in it and the topic are different. It's a different conversation. So here we go. The first one is a cheat sheet. And let me tell you, these are my absolute favorites. I'm all about them because I love a good cheat sheet. So if you've been tuning into my podcast, chances are you've snagged one from me before. And a cheat sheet is essentially a jam-packed series of pages loaded with steps and examples and plenty of visuals to really drive home a strategy. And what makes cheat sheets so fantastic is how easily digestible they are. I mean, nobody wants to spend weeks plowing through a lead magnet. And that's the beauty of a cheat sheet, like short and sweet. Tell me what I need to do. Give me the step-by-step. I'll do it. So remember, quick wins are where it's at. Keep it simple and keep it valuable. Now, moving on to the second lead magnet option, workbooks. These provide both information and actionable steps for your potential clients or students to roll up their sleeves and dive in. Workbooks are brilliant because they not only deliver your content, but also empower your audience to take meaningful action. They typically feature interactive elements like fill in the blanks and guided exercises, which are great because it helps your audience achieve a specific goal or solve a certain problem. And that's gold right there, right? It's definitely important to note that crafting a workbook requires a bit more time and effort. And we're not talking about a 20-page workbook. I want 3 to 10 pages max. Nothing more than that. Because if somebody opens up one of your freebies and it's like 20, 30, 40 pages, they're going to tell themselves they do not have time for this right now, and they will never come back to it. It's free, which means it has a lower perceived value. We need to be honest about that. When you pay for something, it has a higher perceived value. So this is free, and now it's 40 pages, and I have a busy life, and there's too much for me. And people want to get from point A to point B, whether it be a challenge or desire, as fast as humanly possible. So no matter what type of lead magnet you choose, keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Now, next up is a guide. Now, the beauty of a guide is the fact that you can get in depth here, but you don't need to give so much information that it overloads, which I just talked about. Now, how is a guide different than a workbook? Well, a workbook is more so like answering questions and giving prompts, and it's interactive. A guide is just what you're thinking about, like a tour guide. It's showing them the way. So when you create a guide, it's like you're doing this first, then you're doing that next, and then you're doing this. And then you can give detail like how to do this step. So usually a guide is more step by step or more of a roadmap, and you have an end destination. So we're starting here, we're ending here. Here's your guide on how to get there. So use it in that way in terms of a roadmap. And that's how it's different than a workbook, but it can be just as valuable. All right, let's talk about lead magnet 4, which is video or audio. So in this option, you're giving your audience a chance to dive into your content either through watching a video or tuning into an audio. And usually these are mini trainings. That's kind of like how they're set up. Now, what I love about video and audio is that they add an extra layer of personality and connection. They get to see the real deal. Like they're seeing your personality, they're seeing how you teach, how you show up, they're seeing the person behind the content, and really just your overall vibe. And that's something you cannot get from a PDF. And so the level of connection is absolutely higher, but also it's more work, right? And so one drawback to video or audio, if you don't feel good on video, don't do this one. Don't be ambitious and push yourself. If you don't feel good on video, it's going to show. So let's just kind of work on getting more comfortable on video. And in the meantime, do a different kind of lead magnet. But I will tell you, audio is really cool. I have a few of my peers that they've done it's kind of like a mini podcast, but it's a private mini podcast that only you get if you sign up for it. And also, if you are in the wellness space, if you do any kind of guided meditation, absolutely do an audio. But I could think of like 10 different audios I could do, and I teach online marketing. So I feel like there's a lot of option here, but only do the video if you feel comfortable on video and you can do it quickly. Lead magnets should not take you weeks and weeks to create. They should take you like 2 to 3 days max. So just don't overdo it here. Okay, next up, lead magnet number 5. This is way more advanced, but it's a challenge. So like a free challenge. So you're inviting your audience to do something specific every single day for, let's say, 5 days or 7 days. But here's the kicker. A challenge isn't just about doing something for the sake of it. It's about sparking real change, whether that's in how your ideal customer avatar thinks, how they feel, how they show up, or the results that they want to see in their business or in their life. I'll be honest, challenges are a powerhouse list builder. They can really get the right people into your audience, but they are a lot of work. And you've got to think about, like, if you've ever been in a challenge, you have to ask yourself, do I want to do a private Facebook group? I don't think so. I wouldn't go that route. I would do an email challenge. And I've seen my friends do this. Rachel Cruz, I loved one of the challenges she did. So let me set the stage real fast to give you an example. So Rachel, I don't know if she still has it, but she used to have this challenge where you can find hidden money in your life. I'm making this up because I don't remember the details, but here's the concept. It was like 5 days of finding hidden money in your life. And so essentially every day you sign up for it, and every day you would get an email from Rachel. And she would say, okay, here's your challenge today. And one of the challenges might be, I want you to go through your last 3 credit cards, grab a highlighter, and I want you to highlight every expense that might be for a tool, software, a subscription that you are no longer using. You're staying signed up because maybe one day you'll use it or you might need it and you don't want to lose it, but it's sucking money from you. And so what if you found 2 or 3 subscriptions that you're no longer using? That could be $100 every month that you start saving. It was things like that. So she would give you just a really simple, easy challenge, but it would be emailed for 5 days straight. And then at the end of the challenge, maybe on day 6, she might pitch her book or a community she has, or encourage you to go start listening to her podcast or something like that. And so I love a good challenge in that way, but I would just keep it email only. And of course, you would advertise it on social. You could run ads to the challenge, but it's not like a typical challenge where people get into a Facebook group and every day you're live. That's not sustainable for list building. And that might be great if you add it to a promo, but I'm not talking about that kind of production. Okay, lead magnet number 6, a quiz. And here's the deal. The beauty of a quiz lies in the insights you gain about your audience. So a quiz is as much for you as it is for your audience. Like you get just as much value as they're going to get. And that's the only lead magnet where I think that is true. So basically someone signs up for your quiz, they answer your questions, and then to get their results, they need to give you their name and email. Now, what's so cool about this is once you get their name and email, you can email them their results. And at the end of telling them about their results, you can give a call to action like, now that you know your results, go listen to this podcast because it will relate to you. Or if you have a book you want to sell, or even a course, you could say, if you want to dive into this even more, I've got a course all about XYZ. So I really like the call to action you can do on the results quiz page after somebody opts in. And the reason why quizzes are so powerful is they just answered a bunch of questions. So now you're learning about your audience because on the back end, you can analyze all the data you collected. And also the reason why quizzes are so cool is that people love to learn about themselves. We are all into ourselves, right? So tell me about me. What do you know about me? What does this say about me? That is very just human nature. So quizzes work like gangbusters. I have an entire podcast about how to create a quiz. I will link to it in the show notes. You will get that and you can create a quiz on your own. Definitely more advanced than a cheat sheet guide or a workbook, but really powerful. So my last lead magnet that I want to talk about is a free course. Now, when I mention a free course, I want you to shift gears just a bit. This isn't the kind of course that I walk you through in Digital Course Academy. Instead, think of it like a sneak peek into what you might offer for a fee later on. So we're talking mini course, okay? Or like a workshop course, something that I teach my students how to do. A workshop course would be like a 1-hour course on a very specific topic. And you can record it and then give that away for free. Or like a mini course might have 2 or 3 modules max, really not more than that. So you're just kind of getting them started. They're dipping their toe in the water around a topic. You're giving your audience maybe a few aha moments, some new insight, but you're not like rocking their world and changing their perspective like in a huge way or getting them huge results. That's what your course is when you go through Digital Course Academy and I teach you how to build out that full-blown course. That's not what we're talking about. However, a little mini course, my good friend Corinne Crabtree, she has a course on weight loss. And essentially you're signing up for this course, but you can get through it really quickly. And then she'll invite you into her membership, which I love that model. I think it's so smart. I think she used to do it that way. I think she's still doing it that way as well. Okay, so I just gave you 7 ideas for the type of course that you can create. And you can't go wrong with any of them. But if you're just starting out, you're going to choose something a little simpler. And if you want to be more advanced, a little bit more in depth. So like the simple ones, cheat sheet, workbook, guide, a little bit more advanced, video and audio, definitely more advanced, challenge, quiz, or a free course. And by advanced, they're just going to take you a little longer to create, and you got to jump through a few more hoops to make them work. These are just 7 ideas to get you started, and there are plenty more out there to explore. Start signing up for people's lead magnets. See how they do, what they're offering. Maybe that will spark some inspiration for you as well. Remember, a lead magnet is any free value you give to your audience in exchange for their email address. So your lead magnet could be a template. Oh, I've got to tell you about 2 of my students, Katie Caldwell and Alyssa Jenkins. They're realtors and they're podcasters and they're educators because they have a course. But listen to this. So they decided on their podcast, they were going to give away a template as a lead magnet that they use in their own business of real estate. So on their podcast, they're like, hey guys, we use this really cool template we created on our own, and it's really changed the game for us in this way or that way, but we're going to give it away for free. All you need to do is give your name and email, and it's yours. Well, this template was so popular with their audience that the audience is like, do you have more templates like that? Like, what else are you using to grow your book of business for real estate? Like, what other templates do you have? Which gave them the idea, wait a second, we might have a course in us. So they joined Digital Course Academy, learned how to create and launch a course, and they took all the templates they personally use in their business and they used them inside of a course. So the course was primarily different templates, but the videos were how to use the templates. And people paid for this course, of course, and in 2 years, they made $1 million using templates that they use in their own business already. They didn't even have to start from scratch. So you never know, your lead magnet, if it pops off, if it does really well, then my friend, you might have a course in you where you elaborate and obviously go a whole lot deeper, but just pay attention to what works for you. Okay. So you're armed with some ideas of the topic your lead magnet could be about, answering those 10 questions that I'm going to put in the show notes. And now you know there's different formats or types of lead magnets you can create. So let's talk about a few different strategies that you can keep in mind when you go to create them. The first thing to remember is how you name your lead magnet, and this can make or break its success. You want the title of your lead magnet to spark curiosity, pull people in with what they're going to take away from it, and it needs to explain what it is they're going to get. So let's not do cutesy names that make no sense. So here are a few approaches to consider. First, we have the how-to approach. It's simple, it's direct, it tells your audience exactly what they'll learn. So for instance, how to design stunning graphics for your brand leaves no room for guesswork. I'm all about a title that leaves no room for guesswork. And then there's the how I angle. This adds a personal touch, drawing on your own personal experiences to connect with your audience. So picture something like how I negotiated a raise and doubled my income. It's real, it's relatable, and it sure piques some interest, right? And then next, we've got the intriguing question technique. This one's all about tapping into your audience's curiosity and addressing their pain points head on. So for instance, how secure is your online business from cyber threats? It's a question that definitely gets your attention while also offering the promise of valuable insights. So these are just a few idea starters, but of course, ChatGPT. Come up with a title, ask ChatGPT to give you 10 better ideas that pique your curiosity and engage your audience and gets them to want to dive in deeper, however you want to write that prompt. But come up with one idea and then use ChatGPT. And then when it comes to writing the copy for your lead magnet or the script, if you're doing a video, I recommend keeping it concise and scannable. So people have short attention spans, especially when something is free. So you want it to be easy to digest. And if you're doing like long form, like a guide, still easy to digest. So use bullet points, subheadings, short paragraphs to break up the text and make it easy to read. Use images, things like that go a long way. And you can use Canva. So if you're using a PDF, get into Canva, find a PDF template. I'm a big fan of never, ever starting from scratch. Get a PDF template and build your content into that so it will look really good. And then, of course, you can use ChatGPT to come up with the content that you're putting into these lead magnets and writing the copy to talk about your lead magnets. But we're not using ChatGPT as the end all be all, right? It's very obvious. You're just going to blend in with the online noise. This content needs to come from you. It has to be good and it has to be relatable. And that means ChatGPT can be a guide or a starter, like a Kickstarter, but it is not the end all be all. Promise? People will know. I promise you. And also, when you're writing the copy to talk about your lead magnet and when you're writing the copy that's in your lead magnet, you want to use language that speaks directly to your ideal customer avatar. Now, this is easier than it sounds, I promise, but you need to do a little homework in order to nail this. So if you want to write copy that truly resonates with your ICA at a high level, you have to know them. You have to know them like they're your best friend. You have to understand their pain points, their desires, what makes them tick. I was given a compliment the other day. I was speaking on a panel for podcasters, and a woman that secures my ads for my podcast, she said, Amy, you know your audience so well, which means that you're very careful about what ads you'll run on your podcast because you know if your audience will resonate or not. How do you know your audience so well? First, I thought that was a huge compliment, like one of the best I can get. But two, it's because I ask a lot of questions and I try to read between the lines and I pay attention to when they complain or when they are frustrated or when they come to me and say, I just need extra help. I'm very, very aware of what is stopping them in their tracks. But this has been years and years of paying attention. So as long as you start paying attention now, over time, it does get easier that you feel like you know your audience so well. It also helps that I was my audience. So for those of you who are just starting out, I remember like it was yesterday, my first few years of business, and it was hard. I was going to say it was bad. I don't think that's the right word. It was tough though. And so I remember the feelings, the emotions, all of it. So that helps me know my audience well. That's not true for everyone listening right now. You might not be your avatar, but years ahead. One of my course creators, he is a man that helps women going through menopause with their workouts. He's never been one of his ideal customer avatars. So that's a little bit different for him. So it's not right or wrong. It's just an advantage when you have been. Okay. So you got to know your audience and you've got to spend the time to really get to understand who they are. And you don't need to be a professional writer, getting back to writing the copy for your lead magnet, writing the marketing copy to promote it. We're not looking for professional copywriters here, right? Just use your knowledge and your insight about who this audience is. Use the language they're using when they're talking about their problem or desire, and then use Chat GPT as well. I actually have a whole episode about this. It's called Chat GPT AI and how to use it in your marketing. And it's with a woman that used to run all my ads before I brought it in-house. Her name's Emily Hirsch. And you can find that episode at 572. So you know what to do. amyporterfield.com/572. Of course, I will link to it in the show notes. Okay, next up is designing your lead magnet. This is another area where my students tend to get stuck because they think they have to be a graphic designer to create something that's visually enticing. And let me tell you, my friend, that is not true. So just get that out of your head right now because there are so many resources. And I know I'm going to sound old when I say this, but when I first started, there were not nearly as many design resources as there are now. So I feel like you have no excuse in this area. So I've got a few of my favorite. I'm going to link to the websites in my show notes for a quick reference that I really love. But obviously, we all know Canva, right? Canva is great. It's user friendly. It has templates for every type of lead magnet under the sun. It's literally plug and play. The icing on the cake is that it's completely free to use and has an option to upgrade for even more features. So that's great. So Canva for PDF, guide, workbook. Now, let's say you're doing video-based lead magnet. Well, there's this tool called Video Ask, and it's a platform that makes it really easy for you to create video that grabs attention and encourages your ICA to take action. I've used it in my business, something you can check out. But obviously, you don't need Video Ask to just make a video lead magnet, right? Get your iPhone, record it on your iPhone, and then you can put it on just a web page on your website as well. But Video Ask, you can use it for many things. Very cool. And then for high quality imagery, I love Unsplash and I love Social Curator. So Social Curator is a membership, but every single month you get images that you can use in slide decks for webinars, for trainings. You can use them throughout all your lead magnets. You can use them on social media. You can use them on your website. So Upsplash is great for images, but Social Curator is my absolute favorite resource for images. We use it every single month. So if you've ever been on a webinar, all the images you see that aren't me or my team, they're from Social Curator, just for the record. Now, if you're simply not feeling up to designing something yourself, I get it. That's okay. So you could use Fiverr or 99 Designs. I've got to tell you, this is so wild. So there's this guy that I use on 99 Designs, and I have used him to create some of our PDFs because we do like hundreds of PDFs inside my courses. And so we design a template with my designer, and then we give it to my 99 Designs designer, and he takes all my content and formats it into my template that I've created. But we're talking like tons of templates. So we needed a resource. I've been using him for like at least 10 years. Like we give him Christmas presents. Like he has been in my world forever. And it used to just be me and him. And then now I haven't talked to him for years, except just to thank him and wish him a happy holiday when we give out gifts. But it's my team who now talks to him on a regular basis. But 10 years, the same guy from 99 Designs that I found just randomly. So that makes me really happy. I love when we can have a contractor that we keep in the fold for a long time. So anyway, those are some of my favorite tools to use. On my website, I've got this resources tab that you can find more resources that I absolutely love, but I'll make sure to link these in the show notes as well. Okay, so once you have your lead magnet created, the next step is to create your landing page and your thank you pages. So you need a page where you talk about your lead magnet and then people give you their name and email in exchange. And then you need a page where they land to say, all right, this went through. Yay. That sounds really weird, but go check your email, just a thank you page. So we're going to keep these really simple. And the way I look at your landing page is like the front door to your lead magnet. It's where your visitors land after clicking on, let's say, an ad or a link on social media. And it's where they're going to decide whether to opt in and give you their email address or not. So you want to make this great. And then, of course, the thank you page is where the magic happens after someone opts in on your landing page. It's your chance to confirm that their opt-in went through, because oftentimes, when you sign up for something and then nothing happens and you're like, did that go through? Did they get my email? And so I think it's important that they land somewhere. You tell them it went through, express your gratitude for them signing up, and guide them on their next steps, which typically is go check your email. Now, here's where the question always comes up. Amy, can't I just deliver the freebie on the thank you page? Can't I link to the PDF or play the video that I promised them? And my answer is don't do that. I don't think it's a good idea. We want to get our audience in the habit of opening up our emails, trusting that what's on the other side of that email is something valuable. And if you do this enough, when you sell, they are more likely to see your email, open it up, and engage with it. So we do need to get them into the habit of trusting that our emails are valuable, starting with your lead magnet. Now, for both pages, you need to make sure your messaging is crystal clear and your design is sleek and just simple to capture the attention of your ideal customers. Now, there are a few questions that you can ask yourself to ensure that this happens. Number one, is your offer and your call to action crystal clear on that opt-in page? You want your visitors to know exactly what they're getting and what action to take. Number two, are you speaking the language of your ideal customer? Using their own words helps create a connection. Number three, does your opt-in form sit above the fold? That means when I go to the page, that I don't have to scroll before I see the opportunity to give you my name and email and click a button. That needs to be above the fold, which is before they have to scroll. That's important. And when your lead magnet is above the fold, it will increase the likelihood of someone taking action and opting in. And then finally, does your thank you page guide them on what to do next? The goal here is to gently nudge them towards their inbox so they can snag your download. Some people like to include like a 1 minute, I wouldn't do it any longer than a minute, video saying, hey, Amy Porterfield here. Thanks so much for signing up for the XYZ cheat sheet. Oh my goodness, you're going to love it. Don't skip page 5. It's my favorite tip I've ever given. So I need you to check that out. So here's what I want you to do next. Go jump over to your email account, look for the subject line XYZ, and click there, and you can get instant access to what I promised you. And then jump on over to Instagram and tell me what you thought about it or something like that. So notice I did the little teaser about page 5. If you can hint to something in that freebie, it will pique their curiosity even more, and they'll be more likely to be like, I wonder what she's talking about. I want to go check that out. But we're talking a minute or less video if you do include one. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Amy, that all sounds great, but what platform should I use to create my landing page and my thank you pages? Well, hands down, one of my favorite that I've used for years. I mean, probably since the beginning of my business. And if they haven't been around for 15 years, the minute they were created, I was using them, but it's Lead Pages. So this single tool has saved my entire team literally hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars per year because it's just super easy to use. If you're a one woman or one man show, Lead Pages. You can actually create webinar pages, sales pages, any kind of specific page using Lead Pages. So amyporterfield.com/lead pages. I am a proud partner. Tell everybody about them. amyporterfield.com/lead pages. I'll also link to it in the show notes. And then also, I love ConvertKit. I'm a big fan of ConvertKit as an email service provider. So if you don't yet have an email service provider, use ConvertKit, and they have templates for opt-in pages, thank you pages that come with your membership. So ConvertKit, if you don't have an email service provider, if you do have an email service provider and you just want really clean, cool templates that are easy to use and highly tested. Sometimes I don't like my email service providers pages because they don't convert as well as Lead Pages. I think ConvertKits do, but I wouldn't trust many other email service provider pages that you can use. Lead Pages, their pages are created to convert. So that the template that you're going to use has already been battle tested and proven to work, which is a big deal. Okay. So moving on, once you have your landing page and thank you pages created, you've got to choose your landing page URL. Keep it simple and something that your audience will remember, something like amyporterfield.com/more leads. Actually, if you're anywhere near a computer right now, if you can go to this, I don't want to distract you too much, but I want to show you something. And if you can't go there now, just check this out later. So if you go to amyporterfield.com/more leads, if you go to this page, notice that I don't have the navigation of my website on this page. This is a standalone page. That's what it's called. Now it's got amyporterfield.com, so it's attached to my website. But what you won't see is the about page, the resources page, the courses page or podcast page that you'll see on the navigation of my website if you just went to amyporterfield.com. The reason for that is I don't want to give you any more options. I just want you to sign up for this freebie. And so this is a really great example of a good headline. I have an image, first name. I don't even ask for last name. Email. I do have texting optional on there, but you don't need to use it. This page is definitely more elaborate than you need. If you go to this page and you just use the top part before you have to scroll, that is enough. I'm an overachiever. Plus I teach this stuff, so I go above and beyond. I've got extra information. You do not need all the extra information. But if you're going to add it, notice at the bottom of amyporterfield.com/more leads, I have another option to sign up for the same thing because it's so much information that I'm just going to give them one more time to sign up if they've scrolled to the bottom. Anyway, if you can't look at that now, look at it later. I've got details for you. Okay. So next, you've got to integrate everything with your email service provider. Most platforms offer handy templates that streamline this process, like I mentioned, like ConvertKit. So they're great because everything is automatically integrated. Like if you use ConvertKit pages, they're automatically integrated with your email service provider and really easy to set up in terms of tech. But Lead Pages is simple too, and they've got a lot of how-to videos to help you do that. Again, if you haven't chosen an email service provider, an ESP, I have a podcast episode that walks you through the entire process. It's episode 322, How to Build Your Email List from the Ground Up. And I talk about choosing an email service provider. So you know what to do. It's episode 322. I'll link to it in the show notes. Dang, these show notes are going to be powerful, right? Now, I'm giving you a lot of resources. And so I'm going to give you one more right now, but just go to the show notes. All of this will be in there. But I've got this email list starter guide, and it walks you through setting up your email list and setting up your lead magnet. Like if you want a guide, also if you just want to see an example of a guide, it's amyporterfield.com/email kickstart. So amyporterfield.com/email kickstart. And I know I just gave you a lot, but I promise you got this. Okay, let's all take a deep breath. I told you this was a very meaty episode, right? Are you still with me? We're almost through it, I promise. The next step is one that you can't afford to skip, And that's getting peer review and feedback on your lead magnet, on your landing page, and on your thank you page. This is important. So reach out to a trusted circle. Maybe it's fellow business owners, clients that you feel comfortable asking for their feedback, or even just friends who understand your target audience. Ask them for their honest feedback. Believe me, nothing undermines your credibility faster than spelling mistakes or putting out a lead magnet that's totally confusing to people. I do a lot of review of lead magnets, especially for my List Builder Society students. So I have a program called List Builder Society that teaches everything from start to finish to setting up your email list, growing your email list, lead magnets, growing your audience, all that good stuff. And we do a monthly live Q&A. And a lot of times I'll have an opportunity to look at somebody's opt-in page and I'll know instantly what's wrong with it. But that person could have asked a few of their peers and probably would have gotten the same feedback as me. And so asking your friends, like, does this make sense? Is this confusing? Is this a lot of enough information or too much? Those blind spots we might not see because we're too close to it. Totally worth asking a friend. And look, if you put your heart and soul into creating your lead magnet, I won't lie, it doesn't feel great if you get some negative feedback. But just like anything in business, you can't take it personally. And we need that, right? And that brings me to my next step, making revisions. Think of this like you're taking something that's already great and just making it better. So every tweak you make brings you one step closer to a lead magnet that's irresistible to your audience. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and refine your content. And whenever you come across a really good opt-in page, ask yourself what drew you to it. Why are you going to sign up for that lead magnet? What works? And then go back to yours and say, how can I tweak mine to get me closer to one that actually converts like the one that you just really loved? So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm always tinkering with my opt-in pages and my thank you pages and all that good stuff. So definitely I'm a fan. All right, let's talk about promoting your lead magnet. And while I'm a big believer that you don't need a website to build an email list successfully, having one is ideal because it gives you a place to showcase your lead magnet, although this is not the only place. So if you do have a website, I love a good pop-up box. And if you go to my website, amyporterfield.com, you'll notice if you click around, there are pop-up boxes. Why do I do it? Because it works. You may say they're annoying. I do it because it works. Just believe me and trust me on this one. And I do them for a lot of different things. I've grown my list by thousands with my pop-up boxes. So first, you want to nail down the copy for that pop-up box. You can use ChatGPT to help you, but we're just going to keep it simple. If you go to my website, you can see how I do my pop-up boxes. Just copy what I'm doing there because it's working, and you can do it on your site as well. And also, I want to give you two resources. If you're using Squarespace, you're in luck. They've got built-in pop-up features. Otherwise, I love Pop-Up Ally. It's got some seriously smart technology that can turn those pop-ups from super annoying to helpful in no time. My friend, Natalie Lucier, she invented Pop-Up Ally. And what I love about it is that she's a super introvert. And so she doesn't like a lot of like in your face kind of marketing. So she created pop-ups that feel more subtle. And she's got a lot of features and options. I just love that. I know who created it, and these pop-ups feel like her in all the best ways. All right. So if you're thinking, okay, Amy, sounds great, but I don't have a website. So hang on, because I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. It's okay if you don't have a website yet. I still have options for you. I'll come back to that. But you've got everything set up. You're almost ready to go. But there's one final step before you launch your lead magnet, and that's to do some quality control test. So just like you did when you were creating your lead magnet and your landing page and your thank you page, you want to enlist a friend and have them go through from start to finish, which will take 2 minutes, right? You want everything from the initial pop-up on your website to entering their name and email to receiving the lead magnet. You want it all to be seamless. So if you have pop-ups, you're going to do this, but also remember that standalone opt-in page without your website navigation. You want to test that as well. So this is important. That's really all you need for promoting. You want to post it on your social media. You can make a reel about it. You can do a link in bio. You can talk about it on a live. that URL is important. Keep it simple so that you can just rattle it off in all different ways. And remember, this isn't Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. We're going to talk about our lead magnet every opportunity we get. So I remember the first day I met Marie Forleo, who is a friend of mine, and we were in a hallway at a Frank Kern conference so many years ago. I didn't know who she was, and she came up to me and I was explaining some issue I was having in my business, and she's like, I know exactly what you need. She ripped off a page in her notebook, wrote down the URL of her lead magnet and stuffed it in my hand. She's like, go there. And I have been in her mastermind. I have purchased B School. I have been her number one affiliate for B School. Like that one exchange built a beautiful working relationship with each other. And it all started with her lead magnet. Just for the record, it works. Okay. We're going to promote that lead magnet. We're going to make an effort. And actually, remember that guide I mentioned earlier? That guide is 7 specific places to leverage your lead magnet, like different ways to promote it. So I want you to put this in your back pocket, amyporterfield.com/more leads. Put that in your back pocket because that is a resource that you can get. You can sign up. It's a lead magnet, but it's going to help you get your lead magnet out there. So see how I did that? But in all seriousness, the guide will be incredibly helpful in getting your lead magnet in the right place and high traffic places specifically. And if you're worried about getting eyeballs on your lead magnet because you don't have a website or you don't have a big audience, I'm telling you, you don't need a website in order for this to work. Social media is going to be your go-to platform. So yes, you need to use social. Yes, we need to build our social following, but without a website, social media is going to be your best friend. That's where I would spend time until you're ready to create a website. And one of the things with social media, the more you are engaged in your own comments and in your own DMs, Jasmine Star always reminds me, there's a gold mine there. So the more you get engaged in all of that, the more likely people are going to sign up for your freebies. So something to think about. Okay, holy heck, that was a jam-packed episode. But we have made it to the end. And it's my hope that after listening to this episode, you've taken some notes and you're in a great place to start creating your lead magnet. And look, one of the great things about lead magnets is that you can constantly optimize it. And you really do only need one. Like you think you need to create a bunch and you see me creating a bunch, but let's just get one really good one out there and talk about it till you're sick of talking about it. That's when you know that you should probably talk about it a little bit more. Like we're talking about these lead magnets a lot, and marketing 101, most people need to hear 5 to 10 times the same thing before they even take action. So get it out there, my friend, and keep talking about it. So there you have it. I think it's time for you to get started creating your lead magnet. And this might not happen overnight. And you might even have to come back to this episode a few times as you're working on it. But I believe you can get this set up in just a few days. Don't overthink it. Go for B+ work. We're not looking for perfection. And the things that we typically care about and fuss over, our audience doesn't care at all. So just get really great content out there. And over time, you can test a few different lead magnets and see which one converts the best. But right now, let's just focus on one. And I want to be your accountability partner. So once you get your lead magnet created, I want you over at Instagram. I'm just at Amy Porterfield. Slide into my DMs and link me to your lead magnet. I want to see your opt-in page. So come on over. I can't promise I'll be able to respond to everyone because I get a lot every day, but it will keep you accountable. You're going to say, I'm going to show Amy my opt-in page. I'm going to get it done. So there you have it. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Woo! This is one of my longest episodes I ever made. I want to know what you think about it. Did you make it to the end? Did you find it valuable? That's another thing I want you to drop into my DMs and let me know. All right, my sweet friend, I love you to the moon and back. I am so honored that I get to serve you in this way, and I will see you again soon. Take care.